You know, if I ever get prematurely diagnosed as being the dead, I hope that the cause is, well, just as cool as dragons and fire. Probably won't be though, but we can hope. But this show really has cemented the idea that no one is really too safe because they've already killed off some of the classmates. Sure, it was off screen, but they're dead. Who's going to make it through to the end? That might be a good question. What would happen if those with evil intents gain admin privileges? It doesn't really even have to be admin, just some higher level stuff, and, well, this world could be in danger. Looks like it might be heading off that way, so tuck yourself in, get a drink. Let's begin again. That was a weird camera angle just then. Telling him not to run while you're also got quite the pace. I mean, who else is he going to run for but his beloved brother? I doubt my brothers would ever look at me like that, though. Anything other than mild discontentment would be nice. Now, I obviously have read ahead a bit in the novel, so I know what happens to various characters, but my knowledge isn't... I don't know if I'm remembering everything correctly. Plus, the show itself might deviate from the source. And unfortunately, before I managed to actually watch this episode so far, I did catch some people talking about this one, and something happens. I don't know what it is, but apparently it's raises some questions. I just hope what's coming up is done tastefully. We've seen some of the relatively questionable CG work before. Can't even turn around properly to greet your guests. Going off on another journey. So I guess he is following on with the novels. I am so thrilled for you. Did they not know about the dragon? I mean, they've... should have at least been told about her for a while now. For sure they've been away. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, the scarf. It's a valuable silk. Would that mean that that scarf is also incredibly flammable? Did any of you who haven't watched this or read it pick up on the 15 years ago? And so both Faye and Kumo, small spider, were born from creature eggs, but obviously one hatched before the other. Was that just due to the gestation periods of the eggs? What wonderful ideals you have. You had to say it. It's like, how firmly do you want to sign your death warrant? And someone should close that window. And since we left at such a perilous moment with the summarily demised spider, how did she ever escape? What would she do if she didn't have those newly evolved scythes? I don't think you need to shout out the name of your attacks each time. Mm-hmm. It's a all or nothing kind of attack if you take returned damage from it. And since she's living alone in this world, creating these phantasms/illusions will be invaluable. She's been running for too long. Hopefully that unwillingness to show a bit of weakness doesn't come back to bite her later. Just check its status again. Does it have that ability? Do you have any MP left as well? What about SP? Anything? It's not just if the dragon lands an attack, if the stray bit of lava touches her. Huh? You need to explain something. What? We haven't had a proper introduction, but I believe that would be pretty much how I would handle myself if I had internal monologues and, well, dialogues. I don't think there's need to do all the poses and whatnot, but is there an activation time? Like if you don't take into account how long it will take to actually cast the spell. Draining the lava into the gates of abyss itself. One way to handle it. It doesn't look too good though, does he? It is a battle to the death. Well, each fight has been. Any kind of battle against a strong opponent is going to be deadly and scary, but one that can have high level thinking while doing so. Strike a pose, do a victory dance. It just keeps rising. If she hadn't have got Dragon Slayer from killing that. Now you're trapped. I don't think you'll be able to gather it in time. Who's keeping an eye on her like this? Ah. For someone to have an eye on the labyrinth itself and what's going on. There have been people with piercing stares before, but I don't believe the ability to kill on sight is something that we really have to deal with all too often in reality. Get a nice fillet of dragon steak. You have a few options now. Probably the best one is to hide, see what's happening before you don't have the option anymore. Are these milliseconds that are going by? If I could think this fast, well, actually, life would be troublesome, but it would help with various things. Hello? Some cool armor you've got there? Yes? Japanese? English? Isekai. Yes, just speak louder and slower. That makes people understand. Thank you, great smartphone from the sky. What? Well, it's good to have a interpreter. But in a world where there's dragons and monsters and giant spiders, if the inhabitants got hold of Google Translate. Bye. Good talking to you. Hmm. Well, thank you for your intervention. That's a breach of privacy. Why wouldn't she? You're an interesting being in this world. Things are falling into place now, aren't they? If you had someone who can change reality at a whim, like what we've seen some, well, skills they being able to do, and those that put them into place themselves, sure, label yourself as a malevolent evil god, and you'd probably get a bit bored after a while. The greatest motivator to do anything: boredom. Because she at least left the phone, so I don't know, you can watch YouTube or play Sudoku. And that is how you know someone is in charge. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, we saw that the brother was heading out to face the Empire. Really, she has a time frame. For someone who seems so battle hardened, he's doesn't seem too fond of the idea. You've been given an order. And it's good to see the world-eating face that we saw in the openings actually have a bit more of a fleshing out. And how is this society structured? It doesn't seem as though it's some sort of diplomacy, vote your leader in. And they don't seem quite unified. We didn't actually get a name for him. Could you please not cause any hassle at the meeting? Make them dance to your tune. Do you want to make an example of them? Be good little boys and sit down. If you wanted to prove their overwhelming capability just then, one way of doing it. Talkative one. Has that phrase been said so joyously before? Probably. How times have changed. So she knows that it's going to impact some people. So she's not completely heartless, just, grand ambitions and plans can't be stopped. Normally acquiring the title of hero would be, relatively good. But understanding why he's acquired it, cold sweat. It can just be passed on. It's one way to get the message. Is it better than a telegram? And if you wanted it in no uncertain terms. Now, hopefully, this episode actually answered a few questions, whether or not, how the time frames are structured in this show. We've known that the dragon has been hatched from her egg and growing for 15 years. We also saw right at the beginning of the journey, she had the egg stolen away from her, so that's a lot of growth for 15 years. What could have happened? Now, it still hasn't been completely confirmed, but I think we can draw some conclusions at least. If you want to let me know what you think, leave it down in the comments section. Of course, I don't believe I'd want to annoy her. I don't think I'd join a Demon Lord army anyway, but I'd rather not have my movements and thoughts constricted by very thin piano wire and thread. I'm looking forward to the future, and how it jumps about, and what it shows us. What caused the death of the hero, the destruction of everything. It just basically looked like a wasteland. Still, the scarf seemed fine, so quite a useful little artifact. If you enjoyed this episode, then leave a like, and if you want to see more, because there probably will be more in the future, subscribe so you don't miss it. But for now, I'm gonna slink away and hopefully not have any conversations with disjointed voices from the sky. Get some rest though. See you in the next one. If you want to be someone I look up to and admire, and will inevitably start to go crazy should I hear the voice of God telling me I've acquired a hero title, then consider joining onto my Patreon. Because Sal, Raywin, Electricant, Denman 1997, Shiwan, Jennifer Rojas, Mecha, Stinsfire, Big Boy, Dark Shadow 7899, Mats, and everyone else have helped raise me and my channel to where we are today, and I'm not entirely sure what I'd do without them.